Let me introduce our guy here. This gentleman, he shares his years of experience, double digits of experience in the network marketing with having great success. His personality is of a true urchin, which means this man, he does his research. And I love every bit of everything that he shares with us. He also has an HR background, which is also, believe it or not, my background too. So I kind of relate a little bit with him. He was looking for another direct sales company before he joined this. He was part of one and he was looking for another one. And he mapped out companies in the market. And after mapping them out, he put a big red X on ACN and says, "There lies the treasure." And so this man leads. He leads in with Mr. Thomas, giving him that call. I love when Mr. Thomas tells that tale of basically being behind the curtains of ACN about to hop on, and he gets a call from Mr. Curtis Evans, this man here. So the one thing I love about him is that I enjoy hearing what he has to say because he reintroduces us not to just ACN, but to this industry that we're in. He gives us assurance that we made the right decision. And then it gives us insurance to trust the system and that we all can do this. We are doing this to reach the next level in our business. So thank you once again, Mr. Curtis Evans, for sharing with us. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Everyone, if you can put your hands together for Mr. RD Curtis Evans.
My name is Curtis Evans, and thank you very much for that warm introduction. Just coming from under my sports car, I was doing some work on it, then I got to run over to the other side of town to a meeting, and I thought I'd squeeze this in because what I wanted to do was give everybody a good snapshot of what we're in and some of the big mistakes you can make. A lot of times we are our own worst enemy, okay? And today I'm going to talk about that to a large degree. Sometimes, we're looking for help, we're looking for reps, we're looking for this, we're looking for that, we're looking for customers. And in a lot of cases, not all, but in a lot of cases, I would probably say most cases, we are our own worst enemy. The company I was in with before, one Al and I were in together, the owner of the company was Kenny Trout. And Kenny would always say that his mother Nadine would make him look, he'd grab him by the ear, pull him over to the mirror. And even as a little boy, when he was complaining about something wasn't right, something was going right, she would make him look in the mirror and tell him, that's the problem right there. And we all remember Michael Jackson's song, Man in the Mirror. So sometimes we have to stop and look in the mirror. The problem that we may have could live in a house with you. And in fact, the problem that you have could be you. And we're going to break that down. It's not that you're a bad person, but let me reemphasize something real carefully here, that all of us, no matter who we are, we were all born to do one thing and one thing only. And that was to go get a job. That was our challenge. Our challenge was to go out and find a job, okay? And that's what we were trying to do. And anything that meets up with what we were trained to do our whole life, anything that matches up with that makes sense. If it doesn't match with that, it doesn't make any sense. So I remember clearly, nobody ever told me to go out and start my own business and build a huge multinational business. Nobody ever said, I want you to have 10,000, 15, 20,000 employees or IPOs or reps or whatever you want to call them. They said, go out and make as much money as you can per hour. So one job may pay $10 an hour, another job may pay $20 an hour, another job may pay $30 an hour. Try to get one that pays $50 an hour. That was the whole goal, make as much money as you can per hour. The only thing they didn't tell us that we were constricted. We were constricted in the quantity of hours we had per week. We were held down. There's only X amount of hours you work. Legally, most people work around, I guess, 40 hours a week. And overtime, they may get time and a half. But for the most part, we understand that system, the system of getting a job. And in fact, we're very good at it. So when someone comes up to you and show you a business, don't get alarmed if they don't understand what you're talking about. They've had years and years and years of training, trying to find a job. So what do I mean when I say we sometimes hurt our own stuff? Once we're in the business, we understand it, we're in the business. A lot of times those old habits come back, and those old habits those habits do some really bad things to us. So in many cases, we'll retreat, we'll go back to who we were in the beginning. And we won't even know it because it's subtle retreat. It's not like just turn around, about face, It's a real subtle retreat. And so we will start going back to who we are. And who we are is a bunch of people looking for a good job. And if this thing doesn't match a job, something might be wrong. And even though we're IBOs, we understand that. Let me explain. That is a huge mistake. So we'll start doing things like, well, I'm going to take a break this week. I'm going to take a break this month. I'm going to the mountains. I'm going to the movies. I mean, all the things we always do, but we're going to start doing more of those. I'm going back into the gym, or I'm going to spend more time into the gym. And we'll get distracted because we're going back to our regular, normal self. And that's one of the really great things I've seen about the conventions. They help keep you glued in. When you get there, you see other leaders, they're focused, and they're getting things done. Now, that's not to say they don't get off kilter too, but they've learned to stay in the middle of the road. And what we called it in the past was keep the main thing the main thing. If you can write that down, if everybody can write that down, keep the main thing the main thing. Now, let's talk about that. The main thing is your job, the job that pays you every other week, the job that pays you every week, the job that pays you every day. That's the main thing, right? And so, naturally we're going to be working on that. But we know that ultimately in the long run, a network marketing business is going to pay way, way more than that. So we got to be careful about the weight that we put in our business. And just because we only spend $250 or $300 to get started with it, it doesn't mean that it's worth less than the job, even though the job might pay you this week. So what I want you to do is just not self-sabotage. And we do it in so many ways. Sometimes we're ready to talk to somebody, and we just don't talk to. We can't get the courage to talk to somebody. We don't know what to say, and that's because we haven't practiced what to say. And we haven't messed up enough. Go ahead and mess up a little bit. Go ahead and mess up a lot, so that you can learn that nothing's going to happen if you say the wrong thing. Because as you know, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. You just can't. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person. Okay, you just can't. It's just ultimately impossible. So we get used to the rejection. We're normally people that make a lot of money in anything, really, they get used to a lot of rejection. They're okay with it. They're okay with shooting a lot of baskets and only a few went in. We just got to get comfortable with failure. We got to get comfortable with rejection. And now I'm mixing this all up because when you self-sabotage yourself, as soon as you have your next rejection, you're ready to quit. You're ready to slow down. You're ready to go back to normal. And I want to urge you, just don't do that. Now, I don't have a lot of time this morning to talk about that, but what I wanted to do is show a video. And I want to show it
That's
one
why I
time.
refuse to carry dead weight anymore. My public persona can come across as gruff or callous, but behind the scenes, I've always been something of a softie. I've had a bad habit of tolerating counterproductive characteristics in people because I feel bad for them. It's almost as if I somehow blame myself for them not realizing their dreams. Pity apparently makes for foolish allowances. Some people are not built to make it. That might sound harsh, but all my experiences have taught me it's true. No matter how much support you provide them or love you show, their lowest habits are going to pull them right back to whatever struggles they come from. That's why one of the keys of being able to hustle smarter is learning how to identify these kinds of people before they drag you back down to the bottom with them. One of the first rules of lifeguarding is never get too close to a drowning person. Why? Because when you reach them just before they go under, that person is just going to jump on your back and cause you both.
Lost the audio. We lost the video. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so one of the things that he said that you should be careful about who you surround yourself with. People that don't talk positive, people that are kind of negative about everything. And, so you're working your business, you went to a convention, you listen to conference calls, you listen to some of the top money earners in the business, and then you get around one person and they'll drag you down. One of the guys that taught me network marketing is named Jimmy Dick. He's with another company now. But I like Jimmy because he told us when you're around negative people, he said, don't walk away from them. Run away. Run away from negative people. You don't walk from them because they are just set. They're not built for success. There's nothing wrong with them. They could be a very good cousin, a very good brother, sister, uncle, aunt. And you hang around them to some degree because they're your family and friends. But don't spend too much time because if you'll notice, you will become, you'll go back to the least common denominator. You will acquiesce. So it's very, very important that you understand this happens so subtly. It don't just happen like a switch. It's just very, 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 very subtly. It happens. I'll tell you, when I go to a funeral, and I try not to go to too many of them, But when I go to a funeral, my business is about dead the next week. I'm not doing anything. I've heard so much, sorrow. We're not going to live long, but let's take advantage of the time we're here. So you're hearing everybody at the funeral talk about that and this and that and the other thing. Next thing you know, you go back home and you're ready to crank up the next chapter in your business, and you can't seem to do it. And you don't know why. So I have to limit the quantity of funerals I go to. In fact, most of the time I go to see the family before, maybe after. So it's just very important that we understand ourselves, because we can do some very, very, very simple things and self-sabotage our business. You don't need no help with this. You will do it yourself. You will need family and friends. You can do this yourself. But be careful between what you're doing and what your family and friends unknowingly are doing. You'll go right on back to the old person that you were before you found out the power of network marketing. Let me explain the power. A lot of times when people get started, I want you all to have this as your personal goal, okay? Because if you don't have a goal yet, I'm going to give you one today. I want you to imagine that every month when your house payment or your rent is due, every month when your house payment or your rent is due, it comes from ACN on the residual check. It comes in every month, okay? So just imagine you live in this really cool house and there's no house payment. There is actually no house payment. Why is there no house payment? Because every month, thousands upon thousands of people are paying bills that they were going to pay anyway, and you're getting 4% of that. You're getting 3% of that. So if it's $100,000 of billables or commissionable billables, then you're making what, $3,000 a month. If you got $200,000 of commissionable business, you could be $6,000 or $7,000 a month. 400,000. You see my point? So we got to see a big picture. The big picture is we need lots and lots of customers, which means lots and lots of IBOs that will come in and build a business. And your job is to assist them, teach them what we just learned today, not to get self-sabotage. Watch what we're doing to ourselves, and be careful what other people are doing to us. Between the two, you grow your business, and then every month your goal is at the beginning of the month or the 15th of the month in the mail is your house payment. One of the biggest things people are going to purchase. Now, I'm going to tell you why I say that. It's really crazy because you spend 30 years paying for a house. You buy a house, you love it, you bought the house, you wrote a check and down payment, you bought the house. The first 15 years of the house payment is all interest, all 100% interest. That means you're working hard every month to make a payment, and you're really throwing money away for 15 years. And about 15 years after you start the payment, then you're going to start paying on the house. But then they're going to come back to you and say, why don't you get some equity out of your house? Why don't you get $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 out of your house? You say, oh, that's a good idea. You go ahead and do that, and you start all over again with another 30 years. Okay, so it's a big game that banks are playing with the homeowners, and I won't go into the details. But what if the money was coming from residual income? It wasn't coming from money that you worked real hard for, many hours for, after taxes, and then this is what you had to pay your house payment with, and you're complaining to everyone that you can't seem to get ahead. Well, that's because nobody's getting ahead. It's a get rich never program you're on. It's called a job. A get rich never program. So I really want to urge everybody to understand we're throwing thousands of dollars away every month. I can give you other instances of that, but I won't now. But we need to replenish that with residual income because we only got so many hours per week to work. So that's all I have for today. I really want to play that video again. Yeah, play it again one more time, and I want you to listen to the type of people you got to be careful around. And you might be one of those people, okay?
That's why I refuse to carry dead weight anymore. My public persona can come across as gruff or callous, but behind the scenes I've always been something of a softie. I've had a bad habit of tolerating counterproductive characteristics in people because I feel bad for them. It's almost as if I somehow blame myself for them not realizing their dreams. Pity apparently makes for foolish allowances. Some people are not built to make it. That might sound harsh, but all my experiences have taught me it's true. No matter how much support you provide them or love you show, their lowest habits are going to pull them right back to whatever struggles they come from. That's why one of the keys of being able to hustle smarter is learning how to identify these kinds of people before they drag you back down to the bottom with them. One of the first rules of lifeguarding is never get too close to a drowning person. Why? Because when you reach them just before they go under, that person is just going to jump on your back and cause you.
That's it. That's all I have for today. Is we gotta be careful about who we hang around with, and we gotta be careful about what we're thinking about all the time, because it's really easy to just go back into that shell and go back to the person that you were before you found out the power of multi-level marketing. The incomes are really great for a lot of people if they're able to stay focused. All right, that's all I have. Thank you very much.